Aloha and welcome to joining us at The Art of Life. I'm your host, Willow Chang, and we broadcast live every Friday from 2 to 3 p.m. If you are unaware of this, for our stargazers out there, Mercury is in retrograde. For the uninitiated, what does this mean? It means that there is the illusion that Mercury is traveling backwards, which imparts a wonderful reaction here on us Earthlings, which means for about a good 3 weeks, all issues concerning communication, travel, and mechanical issues have a monkey wrench thrown in, and we're no stranger to that. So we hope that you stay tight, because we've got a great show for you, and we're learning lots of new things, and it's going to be a very wonderful visual Valentine in honor of Valentine's Day to the place I love, Honolulu. So let's see if we can get some of these images up. I tried to say pictures and images, it said issues. Images up, and of course, as with all things, the thoughts and viewpoints expressed here are not necessarily those of Think Tech Hawaii. They're completely my own, as are the images that we are going to showcase. So those are copyright free. I would say about 85% of them are images that I've taken, and a few friends in the mix who took pictures, obviously, if I'm in front of the camera. So let's see what our first image is here. I have actually 100 images of why I love Hawaii. We may not get through all of them today, but we'll do our best. Starting off with image number 1. Is this what we're seeing right now, my friends? Alrighty. Now you're wondering, what are these random strangers doing on Waikiki Beach? Well, I'll tell you, one reason to love Honolulu, we have a phenomenal extravaganza that unfolds with Halloween. You can check out the back episode with Jeff Gear. We talk about that at length. But given our balmy weather, you can pretty much go half naked down the streets, and many people use that to their advantage. It's not just the sexy maid or the sexy dental hygienist, but it's things from Avatar and all kinds of cosplay and what have you. And it's a fun, festive evening, and if you've never done it, well, book your ticket now. Come to Honolulu, October 31st, and see what the mayhem is all about. Just one of many reasons to love Honolulu. Moving right along, we have another image for you. It's being cooked up right now. Wow, we are really random here. Once upon a time we had an order, but hey, we're all flying off the seat of our pants. This is a fantastic Buddha image that you will find in the heart of Nu'uanu. I'm not going to say where it is, because your homework, ladies and gentlemen, is to go and find it. There are many Buddhist temples and many places of faith and sacred practice all throughout Nu'uanu, and this was one that I discovered just walking the neighborhood one day, and was so surprised by it. It made me feel like I wasn't in Hawaii. So is this our next image that's previewing here? We have to love men who create things from hot molten glass. And this image is to assert that we have fantastic artisans in Hawaii, and this was taken at the Arts at Mark's Garage on First Friday, and they were actually in the process of creating art right on the spot. And that's something that's going to be going on this weekend as well at Powwow. If you go down to Kaka'ako, you can see people creating murals in the flesh. It's pretty fantastic. Another reason to love Hawaii, look at the Grand Hawaii Theater, right? Beautiful neon marquee, completely refurbished and restored inside. A beautiful example of the Beaux-Arts styles and architecture, and a wonderful little palace of beauty right in the heart of downtown. It's right up the street from where we film, and I thought that this neon sign was just, it's so evocative of a past era. I absolutely love it. I wish you could hear the hum of the neon, but enjoy the sight of it. Moving right along, queuing up another image for you folks here. I heart Chinatown. I love Chinatown also. Now Chinatown's kind of going through a little bit of a rough spot. I say that out of love and concern, because that's what you do when you care about a place or a person. So Chinatown's sometimes a little on the rough side, and some think that that's its charm and elan, and some would say it's always been like that. But it is never predictable. That's the thing I love about Chinatown. And it is really the crossroads of where the financial district and the ethnic enclaves and all the arts district all kind of meet in that one place at that juncture. It's pretty fantastic. So if you haven't taken the time to visit Chinatown, come on, Mustafa, what are you waiting for, an invitation? There's one. We have another image here. This was taken on a walk on the backside of Kahala, and this was basically some neighbor's tree. And Ansel Adamsified it, turned it black and white, and I just love the curvilinear nature and the voluptuous quality of this tree trunk. And I thought, this is just so beautiful. And all it is going for a walk in your neighborhood, my honorary neighborhood, I don't live in Kahala, but and seeing what grows in your neighbor's yards. You'll be surprised. You should be pleasantly surprised. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 lion head. 4 lion's head that are in repose. This is a break in between the lion dances that were held at the Chinese Cultural Plaza, and I couldn't resist taking a picture of these fuzzy, mystical creatures in their pom-pom festoonery. I think they're great. And we have many reasons to have lion dances, not only at New Year's when there is the Moon Festival, the opening of a store, a baby's first birthday. Hey, if you want to have it at your wedding, it's always an omen of good luck and good fortune, and I always love me a lion dance. I think it's festive and cultural and beautiful, and it certainly gets the heart racing, right? Why not? Alrighty, here we have a selection of foods on offering in Qingming or Baisan that happens in the month of April, celebrated by Chinese, but probably extends with Chinese outside of China as well. And that's something I think that's really wonderful, the continuity of respecting your elders and your honoring those who have dearly departed. And this is just one approach to that. So those who've watched the show know that I'm pretty indebted to this practice, and I strongly believe in the importance of remembering those who have dearly departed. So when you hear the firecrackers going off in the month of April, you'll know what that is all about. Our next image is a fun one, and I must narrate what's going on because you may not know. This is our own Professor Pandemonium, who I hope to have as a guest. And he is at the Fringe Bites, and he has an electrical cord that is strung from one nostril to the other, and he had somebody flip the switch, and he had an illuminated cord in his nose. Now, what does this have to do with Hawaii? Well, this is further proof that our artists are just as zany, just as wacky, just as edgy, just as crazy as any other large metropolitan city, and they add color and diversity to the mix of the artistic scene. Another image from Fringe Bites. Oh my goodness, it's Robert Rees. So we do have performance art. For those of you who think Hawaii is only about paintings of dolphins, you now know differently. And this was a fantastic spoken word piece that Robert Rees did. It was kind of creepy and fantastic at the same time. Yes. This is a high priestess of fabulosity, Miss Coco Chandelier, bon vivant, drag extraordinaire, teacher and lecturer at LCC, Buto dancer, and has been creating all kinds of creative mayhem here in the islands for over 20 years. And I just happened to run across her walking down Chinatown, and of course she would pose for the camera. So she struck a pose, Vogue. You gotta check her out. We'll have her on the show sometime. Looking for our next, okay. So for the uninitiated, this is a wonderful, magical view that you can encounter if you go through the whole Manoa Falls Trail. Manoa Falls Trail is something I've done since I was a child. It never loses its charm. It's a beautiful place, a sacred place without doubt. My only advice is I would not go after heavy rainfall because everything is muddy and very loose, and there are falling eucalyptus trees. I've seen it happen. And this magnificent portal, like I said, never loses its appeal, and it's proof that you can have a sacred place and it doesn't have to have a ceiling or 4 walls. You can step right out into nature, and I think this is the type of thing people are seeking when they come to Hawaii. It's one of the reasons why I take my visiting friends to Manoa Falls. A relatively easy hike with a great payoff. Moving right along. We're going from Manoa Falls. Oh, do you hear the sound of the urhu? I hope so. This also is at Manoa Falls. Another reason to love Hawaii is we have magical, mystical bamboo groves and forests, not only in Manoa, but also up in Tantalus, in Kaneohe, on the windward side. And if you have never heard the wind blowing through the bamboo trees, you are really missing out. It's a beautiful, comforting, soothing sound, and it really takes you to another place. So I know you're probably thinking, I thought this was a love letter to Hawaii. It is. We have all of these different flavors, and they all coexist, which is equally beautiful. Our next image, I wish we could have someone call in right now and wager a guess where they think this is, but since we don't have that capacity hooked up today, I'm just going to tell you where this is. This is right in between Washington Place and the St. Andrew's Cathedral. And I thought that this was so cool because here you have the abundance of the tangerine trees in full bloom, and you have this fantastic lantern that kind of evokes a past era, and I believe you have a banyan tree in the background, and I just love that. If you looked at this, you may not necessarily say, hey, that's Hawaii, but it is. Hawaii is a very diverse place, and they have these little magical scenes that you can see. You just got to open your makas, just got to open your eyes and look around you. Take that walk, go on foot, and take your time. Queuing up another image for you folks. Well, where else are you going to find a gigantic aloha shirt being paraded down Kalakaua Avenue? This picture is about 2 years old, and at the time this was celebrating the 75th anniversary of the aloha shirt, a garment that was created right here in the heart of Hawaii by immigrant workers, not in terms of making it, but the idea of taking fabrics from Japanese kimonos and textiles and fashioning them into this aloha shirt, which allowed to house some ventilation, and it was cool, and it was visually interesting and arresting as well. And here we have a float that is commemorating the 75th year of the aloha shirt. It's kind of cool, right? Take that, Macy's. Macy's Day Parade, of course. Alrighty, this is also in the same theme of our parades are really cool. So I love me a parade. I will never get tired of a parade. I like them even more if I have a great seat or something to sit on where I don't get dirty. And this, I believe, is at the end of the Pan Pacific Parade. I could be mistaken, but that's the one that happens in March, right around spring break, and at the end they have these fantastic luminaries, my term, not theirs, but these gigantic lanterns that are illuminated in a traditional way, and it is just the coolest thing. It's the coolest thing to see this going down Kalakaua Avenue, and all the little workers are by the side like a little herd of ants pushing this along by hand and foot, and it's cool. It's old school and it's low tech, but it's compelling and interesting and fun and festive, and everybody gets excited when they see that thing rolling down the avenue. We are back to a magnificent picture of trees, and this again is to assert that part of the big charm and the appeal of Hawaii are our open green spaces. This is why I personally am very disappointed and concerned that we are losing our green open spaces, whether it's for agricultural purposes or just open fields or just a lack of development. I think it's something we need to consider and put on high priority to retain these spaces. Otherwise, we're going to be overgrown and overbuilt, and we're going to lose the essence of what makes Hawaii a unique place, which are our open spaces and our connection and relationship with nature. So hopefully those trees convey all of those things to you. Moving right along. Yes, the frangipani, also known as the humble plumeria tree. The plumerias, although not native to Hawaii, are one of the compelling fragrances and flowers of the islands, and many people will swear up and down that the first thing they recognize about stepping off the plane in Hawaii, two things. One is clearly the humidity. It's very humid here. But secondly, the fragrance of the air, and many people cite that plumeria is the thing that they smell when they get off of the airplane, in the air as well as the leis that were distributed. It's a shame that with the current security measures, we're not allowed to greet people at the gate and give them leis. That is something that really, really smarts. It's sad. But regardless, The plumeria is wonderful, and this picture here is at Cocoa Head at the Botanical Gardens there. I'm letting out all the secret places. And they have a fantastic grove of various plumerias from all over the world, different hybrids and different types, different fragrances, different flowers, different colors. You really should go check it out. I would suggest around the month of April is when they all start just blooming and going off, and it is beautiful. You do not want to miss it. Our next image here, the ability to create sacred places no matter where you are. This is a small shrine set up to Kuan Yin, goddess of compassion, right in the center of Cultural Plaza. Now, I have to pair this love letter with a small rant because once upon a time, back in the 70s, this shrine was even more beautiful than the intention set for it today. It used to have a water feature and a pond, and it used to have a weeping willow planted in front of the pond, which makes sense because Kuan Yin holds a vase of tears and the willow branch. For some reason, maybe it was cost, maybe it was maintenance, they decided to pave over the pond, and the tree is now gone. I am very sad about that, but I am still relieved that they managed to save this wonderful shrine where people can light incense in recognition of needing guidance or compassion for worldly matters. So it's not all bad, but it could be better. Alrighty, back to celebrating our artists. This is Convergence Dance Theater under the direction of Jennifer Shannon Butler. And in my opinion, one of the secrets of Hawaii, they are a fantastic modern dance group, and they always provide compelling, interesting, family-friendly, fun dances filled with wonder that are playful but never childish. And here they are dancing at the Book and Music Fair and just creating joy wherever they go, creating joy and creativity. So again, I want to assert that again, Hawaii is a unique place with fantastic artists, and they do their thing and they're committed to it even though we're just in the middle of the Pacific. Okay, something that's much more associated with Hawaii. Come on, let's give a shout out for surfing, the home of surfing, the birthplace of surfing, Duke Kahanamoku. Where else in the world can you walk down the street and see surfboards for sale and surfboards for rent and surfboards for purchase and all of those good things? And so here is an image right on Kalakaua Avenue of surfboards. And for every person out there who says, wow, I thought Waikiki was only for tourists, I'm a local and I go to Waikiki all the time and I enjoy it. I enjoy acting like a visitor. I enjoy seeing what the visitors are recommended and subject to and what they might be experiencing. I like to try to find the parts of old Hawaii that are there in small little nooks and crannies, disappearing, but you gotta hunt for it now. But I think it's important and essential for people who live here to go to Waikiki and see what it's about. You're going to feel a lot more connected to it and invested to it as a place instead of if you divorce yourself from Waikiki. Because Waikiki was the playground of the original Hawaiian people. And this is where you had Ainahau, and this is where you had Princess Ka'iulani, and there's a lot of history in Waikiki, and it's a shame if you turn your back on Waikiki because it's a fun place. Doesn't cost you a thing to go there. Alrighty, back in the heart of Waikiki, look at this Oba-chan with her fan. She's just doing her dance. Now, granted, this is not in the middle of the street when there's traffic. This is clearly taken at a parade. But I love this. This is the kind of place Hawaii is. You can let your freak flag fly and you can flap your fan and walk down the street in your yukata and your geta and, you know, celebrate your culture and celebrate being in Hawaii. What's not to like? What's not to like? Another image. Here it is. Well, I guess you probably figured out that's me, and this is probably the closest you'll get to seeing my belly button on The Art of Life, because I am always dressed appropriately for the show, but this would be appropriately for the type of show that I do as an Oriental dancer. Now, it seemed like a shameless plug, but I've got to use some pictures that are copyright free, so a big shout out to Joe Marquez who took this image. This is something I love about Hawaii. I can take a picture of this and use it on my business card, which I have, and every person outside of Hawaii is just, they fall in love with Hawaii. Just the image, the idea of a lady, a dancer on the beach at sunset, it really helps them want to come to Hawaii. They say, wow, I want to live that life. I want to live that dream of dancing barefoot on the beach. Ooh la la. So that's another wonderful thing about Hawaii. You don't have to be a professional dancer. You don't have to know what you're doing. You can kick off your shoes and dance on the beach, and people won't even bat an eye, to be honest with you. They might take a picture. Here we are also. We celebrate Gandhi. We celebrate Gandhi's birthday every year in October. And here I am with Maleko. This is an event that Dr. Raj Kumar puts on. You can check out our back issues from Art of Life. We interviewed him extensively about this. And we celebrate his message of peace and universal harmony. And we do that at the beginning of every October. And we have this beautiful statue of Gandhi in front of the zoo. And that's the kind of place Hawaii is. We celebrate other people's leaders who've in turn become global leaders in the pursuit of peace and harmony. So, hey, what's not to like? We're queuing up another image for you. Oh, and we're back to Halloween. So, for those of you just joining us and you're like, what is this? We've got this little Boy Scout with these gals. This is Halloween in Waikiki. It's all inclusive. It's all ages, everyone from little babies in strollers. I don't know who would take a baby in a stroller to Halloween, but having seen it enough times, it does happen. The grannies are out there, the grandpas, the uncles, the kids, what have you. And it's family friendly. It is. As it gets a little later, it gets a little crazier. As we get near the witching hour of midnight, people, I think, have had a few cervezas. But it is fun, and it doesn't cost you a thing. You just have to figure out how you're going to get there or where you're going to park your car. But it's wonderful. Continuing with the theme of October, I think we're back on track here. Dia de los Muertos. Yes, shameless plug. We have a whole episode that explains that wonderful Day of the Dead festival, and here are some revelers who partake and paint their face and create ofrendas, and we had a little parade. And this is again Hawaii celebrating a cultural event that was founded in Latin America, and we find ways to celebrate that and also bring a little Hawaiian aloha to the mix. Here is another reason to love Hawaii. All of our flowers, right? So we earlier saw the plumeria. Here we have the hibiscus, and these hibiscus are examples of various hybrids and crossbreeding that has happened and people have created here in the islands and abroad. And there is a lady at KCC who sells hibiscus, and this is a picture that I took of her flowers, and I just thought they were so magnificent and just breathtaking. The colors, the variety, the textures, the gradation from one color to another. Ooh, the possibilities are endless, and that in many ways is a great metaphor for the people of Hawaii. We come in all shapes and sizes, all types of mixes, all places from the world, and we decide to make this our home. Hawaii is a place where even our geckos are colorful. So here's a guy who decided to make Hawaii his home. He's originally from Madagascar. This is the Madagascar gold dust gecko. Once upon a time, I only used to see them at the base of Diamond Head, but you can also find them in Manoa Valley and all throughout the Wailai Kaimuki area. They're colorful. I know they're technically an invasive species, so I'm aware of that, and I hope they're not doing too much damage to our Aina. But I have to admit, when I see these colorful buggers, I get pretty excited and I look for my camera. Our next image here, the locals know this place. I'm a non-fish eater, but I respect that others like the daily catch. And this is the famous Tamashiro fish market in the heart of Kalihi. When I have visiting friends, I take them there so they can see a little bit of old Hawaii and check out the catch of the day and the fruit of the sea. And it's iconic. And it's pink, right? What's not to like? You're like, where am I, in Miami? No, you're in the heart of Kalihi, bro. Alrighty. This is an image that I took of two wonderful pieces of coral and stone on the beach. And I just thought of that song, Ebony and Ivory. I'm kind of a softie here, folks, but I thought this is a harmony, and this is a visual haiku of two different stones cruising together. It's kind of, there's a lot of poetry in that. There's a lot of poetry in Hawaii. Now, this next image, I was thrilled I was able to try to do justice to these beauties. And these are just a few of the fantastic jellyfish that we have on display at the Waikiki Aquarium. And look at these lovely ladies. They're little pulsating bells. They're polka dotted. They've got this scalloped, leafy, lettuce-like edge. They're diaphanous. That's the fancy word for see-through. They've got these magical tendrils and tentacles in their wake. And they're just glowing. They're glowing because they're also illuminated by a black light. But this is the color that they emit, or we see, under the black light. If you have not gone to the Waikiki Aquarium recently, what are you waiting for? It is a wonderful gem located, obviously, at the edge of Waikiki. We've got our lovely little Hawaiian monk seal there. They have the tide pools that you can touch various creatures and not get bitten or stung. We have sharks and all kinds of tide pool creatures and freshwater fish and fish that are in brackish water and nautilus and all kinds of cool things. So we might have to get their director on the show. Here's another image of the jellyfish. And they have this exhibit done really well because it's very dark and the light is singularly on the display itself. And I can't express how relaxing it is to watch these pulsating jellyfish just move about in their tank. It's pretty fantastic. Here is an image of some Korean students that I had the honor of teaching hula to. We had a picnic on the beach. These were students that were learning ESL, English as a Second Language, and they were honing their skills to pursue their English skills in the pursuit of what am I trying to say? To have a job in the travel industry. And they were very enthusiastic to learn about Hawaiian culture and hula, and they were equally thrilled to be underneath palm trees in Waikiki dancing the hula. So again, that's something that's wonderful. Hula is certainly another reason to love Hawaii and Honolulu. If you are not moved by the sight of a rainbow, then you might want to check your pulse. So here we are at the top of Tantalus. We've got a magical, vibrant rainbow going into the heart of Manoa Valley. And it's like, it never gets old. For me, it never gets old. And I think it's very easy when you grow up in Hawaii and we see rainbows with the frequency that we can, we might tune out and think that that's a normal occurrence. However, I can let you know, we had some tango dancers from Argentina, and when they saw a rainbow, they had like the double rainbow experience. If you know what that is about, if you don't, go on YouTube, look up double rainbow. They were scrambling for their camera, and their mouths were agape, and they couldn't imagine that this beautiful gift was in their presence. So if you haven't had a chance, go on a little bit of a rainbow hunt and see what is out there. It is a magical thing. And here's a little scientific note, you may or may not know this. No two people see the same rainbow. It's true. It's a math thing. No two people see the same rainbow. So you can revel in that delight, knowing that the rainbow you are seeing in that moment is singularly your personal experience. If you groove on that type of thing, exclusivity. The rainbow's pretty exclusive. Coming back to beautiful flowers, we have this tree in blossom at the Foster Botanical Gardens, and this is the cannonball. This is the cannonball flower. It only blossoms like once a year, so you might want to call in advance and ask them if you were lucky, if it's that time of year. I was lucky enough to capture a few images. If you haven't been to Foster Botanical Gardens, another wonderful place right in the heart of Honolulu, right there in Vineyard. It's a gem. You should check it out. And again, Manoa Valley. This is behind Lion Arboretum. So if you feel that you need to get away from the hustle and bustle of the city life and the pavement and the concrete, we still have that option. You can drive into the valley, you can drive into Manoa, you can drive up to Tantalus, you can drive up to Wa'ahila Ridge, you can go obviously to Kaneohe, or the windward side, or even parts of the leeward side. I'm sounding like a song here. Of course, there's the North Shore, Cocoa Head, right? So I would encourage you to do that. Get out back into nature, because then you can always come back home and watch the show that you DVR'd, or etc., etc. Facebook's going to be there. Trust me. Go out into the nature. Alrighty. Another reason to love Hawaii? Because we have pink umbrellas on the beach. What's not to like, right? Pink umbrellas on the beach. Our beautiful pink palace. In a sad note, Shirley Temple, who passed away, she visited the Pink Palace, and the legend is this is how the Shirley Temple drink was created, right at the Royal Hawaiian Hotel. So if you want to stroll around and soak up some of that history, if I'm correct, our next picture here is of the lehua. I hope this is, yes, okay. We have the lehua blossom, and it's a flower strongly associated with Pele and with the Hawaiian Islands, and its vibrant pom-pom-like nature. I get a kick every time I see them, especially in Hawaii, because we don't necessarily have them on Oahu with a lot of frequency as you might see on the Big Island. But I'll let you in on a little secret. We have the Ohia Lehua blossom. There's one at JCC. There's one at Japanese Cultural Center. You heard it from me. Alrighty. Even though a lot of us get stuck in traffic, sometimes we have this beautiful gift in the sky. There we are, another rainbow right by Vineyard, right where the traffic always gets congested and clogged. That's why I was able to take this picture. But it's something that it gives me a thrill. It's like, okay, it could be worse. You could be stuck in snow in Atlanta, Georgia with their storm of the century, or you could be stuck in Hawaii with our muggy weather and our wonderful rainbows. You be the judge. Okay, we will have to save some of our images for you in the future, but this last image is the idea that you can go and enjoy sacred space indoors, and this here is at St. Andrew's Cathedral. I was just there prior to taping of the show. Every Friday at 12:15 they have a free concert, donation-based, where they play music from the organ or visiting musicians, cellists, pianist, vocalists. They come and sing sacred and classical music. You don't have to belong to the church. You don't have to be a Christian. You can just go and take sanctuary in a beautiful place, listen to music. They even invite you to bring a brown bag lunch and eat in the pews. Now, if that isn't a welcoming environment to let you hear music, to be in a beautiful place, to eat lunch, and to basically recharge your batteries, I don't know what is. Those are just a few reasons why I love Honolulu. From our beautiful animals, our birds, our ocean, our rainbows, our sacred places that are both natural and man-made, the diversity of the cultures and the people, the artists, the festivals. There are so many things to discover and to enjoy. I'm hoping that we'll have part 2 probably sooner than later. So thank you for joining us on The Art of Life. Don't forget, we're on every Friday from 2 to 3 p.m. And you can find our back episodes, if I can call them that. They are up on YouTube. We have archival footage. And you can also go to The Art of Life with Willow Chang on Facebook. I have every episode there with links pertaining our guests and the projects that they're involved as well. So the idea is to keep it a continual resource of information and inspiration. We're hoping that you'll join us next week on The Art of Life. It is always a pleasure keeping it Pono. Aloha.